I know, I haven't posted any new videos in 2 weeks, but you know, sometimes just life happens and you just have some commitments that you cannot any longer to prolong and you have to deal with them, so some things have to go on pause or on hold, and that's why basically I have not posted anything in 2 weeks. Plus, it's not like anybody even noticed that I haven't posted anything, so it's all good. Anyhow, so idea for this video kind of gave me Chernobyl, like probably a couple of months ago. It's just I never really got to check out around those pets, what they do exactly and how to use them in their best possible way, or how they have been intended to be used, right? So, yes, they are forgotten. Basically, I believe even God himself has forgotten them completely, let alone the creators for them. However, I'm going to, let's say, go into a little bit of deeper analysis how you can optimize their usage and actually which ones are worth doing, because let's be honest, the quests themselves are a little bit sloppy to do because of the semi-high requirement of mobs that you have to kill to in order to get to the pets itself. Okay, so basically all 6 pets are at Monster Enthusiast, so he will give you 12 quests in total. 6 quests are going to be only for the materials to get pets, and the other 6 quests are just for the pets themselves. So let's take an example. Forehand Yaksha. So this quest is only to give you the material, which is this body of Forehand Yaksha. And that material is needed for the actual quest, which is power of Forehand Yaksha. So every quest that is listed as power off is the quest for that corresponding pet. So as we can see, it requires here body of Forehand Yaksha, and here it gives you the actual pet. So, how to use pets overall. So first of all, let's clear out the mobs themselves are not really all that big of a problem, because all of them are in the Wind Stage camp, Black Iron camp, and the Ghost Town camp. So very easy to find them. They are straightforward basically. Everybody who has done ever any MDV quests knows where most of them are, or if you bought there, which a lot of people do, it's very easy to find all of them. So, since I have completed all of the quests here on my monk, I'm going to just to show you what they do and how they actually operate. So, first up here we got Silver Fox. Summon to gain a buff of dodge increase. Okay, so let me actually first use it. Well, actually before I use it, I wanna see my actual dodge, so that we kind of can get the idea how much each of the pets can give you the respective bonus. So here my dodge is, let's say, 40%, and let's see what happens to my dodge when I use the pet. Okay, 43.27, so around 3%, a little bit over. And we can see here that the buff duration of the pet itself is only 1 minute. So basically, this pet, for my money, like, you could make a use out of those 3% of dodge. However, only for this short duration is it really worth to waste your time for a 1 minute buff? Not really, I would say. So I'm going to classify also all of those 6 pets which are not worth, which are fine, and which are must get. So I will put Silver Fox just alone because of its duration of only 1 minute to a skip. Next up we got Armored Ape. Summon it to gain a buff of a defense increase. Okay. So let's see first of all my actual defense. I believe this is going to be for the physical defense, if I'm not mistaken, because I think one of them is for the magical defense separately, if I remember well, but we're going to see in a second. So, my defense is 75.11%. Okay, let's see what happens to the defense when I use the pet. 75.94, so basically not even 1%, let's say around 0.8%. Okay, so we can firstly see here that the buff is actually 5 minutes, unlike the Silver Fox, which automatically is going to put it into better category. Now thing with personally this pet, it's not going to put much of a use to monks, because as we all know, monks get very early to maximum of 80% physical defense. Assassins do need a lot of plus on gear to get to 80%, but it's still possible. However, Fairy, Wizard and Tamer, they have absolutely almost no chance to get 80% with alone gear plus and the pet itself. So this one could be put to good use onto 3 out of 5 classes. Of course, it's going to be always useful if you are very low on your gear plus, because as you know, you gain your physical defense from your gear plus as you combine. So this Armored Ape, actually it's going to be go to okay, just because it's not going to put a good use to every single class, but only to specific ones. Okay, next up we got Skeleton Fighter. Summon it to gain a buff of critical strike rate increase. Now, I believe that this is going to give only default critical strike rate, and by that I mean it's going to give only this base critical strike rate, because there is a elemental critical strike rate which you get from the set. As you can see here, the Buddha CC rate by 13%, that is element specific, as well as you get those specific ones from your weapon, which is going to be 5%. And this is a general critical strike rate that combines and stacks with your Buddha or fire or whichever element you are with your elemental, and basically it combines it into one. Now let's see how much does the Skeleton Fighter give. So first off, my critical strike is 37.74%, and let's see what happens when we summon the pet. Okay, now this one does not actually tell you how much the critical strike rate increase is, plus it only lasts 1 minute. Since this is going to be probably a nightmare to calculate, I would assume that it's probably not more than 0.5% of critical strike rate, plus on this low duration I would put Skeleton Fighter to a not very good pet to get, so he's going to join Silver Fox. Next up we got Immortal Crocodile. Summon it to gain a buff of Dmg Absorb. Now this one I believe has a lot of potential just by reading it, but we are going to see how much it is. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take a couple of hits here just to get a sense how much is going to be a damage absorb, and for that I will have to take off my gear so we can get better estimate number. So I'm just gonna let a mob hit me a couple of times. I'm not gonna go towards this range one, but I'm gonna go over here. So let's see just how much damage I take. Okay, 668, 640, 664, 670. See, okay, so basically from 640 to 670 is the damage you would take Let's reset the mob. So let's call the pet and let's see what happens. Okay, great. So the damage absorb duration is actually 5 minutes, so it's going to actually put it right away into a better category than those two above. And let's see now how much does this pet can absorb the damage. 740, 740, 770, 760. I think I have done something wrong here, because I'm taking more damage than before, unless this pet is being a purposely sabotage, because what did I have actually as the last buff? Oh, it was damage increase, defense decrease. Okay, so that's why. Okay, we have to redo this at the end of the video, because okay, so let's just go towards how much I actually take damage, but we are going to go back again at the end of the video to get the final number. So 760, 750, 790, 780. Okay, so from 750 to 800. Okay. So let's just run away. Now, because we don't know this, how much it gives, I'm gonna keep it next to Armor Dave towards the good ones. But we're going to see at the end if it's worth or not. But I believe because damage absorb is always necessary, and basically you can never have enough of it, I believe this is going to go actually over here into external world pet. Next up, Forehand Yaksha, summoning to gain a buff of elements resistance increase. Okay, so basically elemental defense. Now before I use it, I gotta put my gear back so I get exact number how much it actually gives. Okay, so elemental resistance in my case is 52.8%, and let's see what happens when I summon the pet. 53.13, so basically gives you exactly 1%, a little bit over. And as we can see here, it's also 5 minutes duration time. This one is extremely well, and I'll explain in a second why. Elemental defense is very hard to come by, and it's especially hard to gain the maximum of 80% of elemental resistance. Only way really you can come even close to it is if you run new Lake Wave rings, which are going to give you elemental defense, as well if you use some of the stronger fish buffs, which also give elemental defense. Plus, if you are assassin, you also get the elements RI buff from RI flag, and therefore that can put you in a guarantee spot of 80% of elemental resistance. Aside from that, the elemental resistance is still a pain to get to the max, which is 80%. So this is going to be always a must get, because I don't really see a scenario where you won't need it, aside from if you really can reach 80%, but even that is, as I would like to say, a stretch of the ass, because it's gonna take you a lot of stuff to put yourself through, to equip, to collect, just to get to 80% of elemental resistance. So I would say this is a really good one. And the last one is Evil Bone Dragon, summoned to gain a buff of damage increase. Okay, so this one is probably going to be my favorite one, because as you know, I'm damage fanatic. So I don't think this one is going to increase like strength, but it's going to rather give just flat damage number, I guess. So yeah, let's just firstly test. Let's see if those buffs affect. No, they don't. So let's just see how much I actually hit without the pet. Okay, so 10.4. I'm just going to count the crit numbers at 10.3, 10.4, 10.7, 10.4. Well, it's more closer to 10.5. Okay, 10 point, yeah, so basically 10.4 to 10.7. And now let's see how much it is going to give when we use the pet. And okay, so another one that gives 5 minutes of duration, so automatically it's gonna go into a good tier. And now let's see how much of the damage increase it actually was. $10.8. Okay, so far we are already seeing bigger numbers. 10.7, 10.8, okay, let's see some more hits. 10.6, 10.4 still, but we reached 10.8, 10.7, 10.6, okay, 10.7. So basically we can conclude here that the damage increase is probably flat number from about 100 damage to 150. I'm gonna try to hit some more mobs just to be sure. Yeah, 10.6 to 10.7, but we did reach to 10.8. Yeah, 10.5. So yeah, probably about 100 to 150 damage flat increase on both non-crits and the crit hits. So it's not a lot, but you know, if you can collect the damage over time, it's going to help you. Plus you don't mind it because it lasts you 5 minutes, so why wouldn't you actually use it? And let's just go back now to the, I believe it was Damage Absorb, so Immortal Crocodile. The defensive buffs are off, so let's see how much actually it's going to absorb, because it used to be numbers from 750 to 790 damage. And let's see what does it say now. $790, $750, $790. Oh, I've done this wrong. I'm using it. Can I remove this? No, I cannot. Oh boy. So I should have firstly take damage without the pet and then only with the pet, but oh well. But yeah, basically even this is not gonna be probably all that big of a damage absorb, but as we all know, you can never have enough damage absorb, so therefore it's going to go into a good category. Now, very important thing to know with those pets is how long they last. A lot of people misread those expired times for one way or another, but basically how the counter for them works is it takes your actual PC time, which let's take for example mine is 2:39 AM when I'm filming this, and here I have collected them, let's say this one at 5:02, well actually 2:02 AM, so their duration is 3 hours. The counter for the expiration time starts only once you get the pet. So you can hold the quest unlimited amount of time, it will not expire. It only starts to count when you take or actually give the quest and get the pet in your inventory. So you have to kind of make sure that you time it correctly, to not use it too early, because it can mess up, let's say, a lot of your planning. Plus you have to plan forwards to take away yourself an hour or hour and a half to just get those quests to be finished in the first place. Well, actually you can crop down towards some of them. As I have said, Silver Fox and Skeleton Fighter, in my opinion, are not worth getting. Armored Ape and Evil Bone Dragon, like, they are okay, especially Armored Ape. If you are monk, you don't really have much of a use out of it at all, almost. Any other class you can put use to it. Evil Bone Dragon is okay because you can never have enough damage. Same case is the Dmg Absorb, you can never have it enough. And the Elemental Defense is probably the best one because it's the hardest of the 6 to get, period. So, one trick that you can do with all of those pets is basically you can summon all 6 of them at the same time, gain debuffs, and then call your actual pet. So what I'm talking about here, I'm going to demonstrate in a second. Now, if you are going to gun for all 6 pets already, firstly use the pets that last the longest. So basically you want to first use all those 6 pets, the 4 pets that last 5 minutes, and only then towards the end, the last 2 that last 1 minute, then you are going to summon them. So let's put this to a test. Now, very important, you have to wait 5 seconds that the buff appears, and you must not recall the pet or change to summon any other pet, because then the buff will not apply and you'll have to resummon the pet. So let's do chain pet summoning to gain all of those buffs. Okay, so we have gained another one. Time for round 3. This one is, I believe, Dmg Absorb one. So one problem with this is that if you summon a pet already that gave you a buff, it will not reapply the duration of buff timers. So you kind of are stuck. Like, if you can see, it should have given me like a new time, but it doesn't, because it's how the pets are made and how their mechanic works. And let's call the 4th one. This one is for the element resistance. So basically you can see here that you get all 4 buffs, and now you can summon the fox, or the other way around, Skeleton Fighter, or however you want it. Wait for a buff, do a recall of the last pet, call Skeleton Fighter, wait for the buff, and now you can call your actual pet. And this way you gain all 6 buffs from your pets. Pretty cool, right? Like, I get it that individually they do not, let's say, very much give a lot, but when you combine all 6 of them, they actually can do a pretty significant difference. And where you can put this to use. Basically, the whole idea for them was made in the first place to help you out around Moondragon Village and around those elites and harder, let's say, bosses or mobs, because once you get into Moondragon Village, the difference from the mobs damage alone is significant from one on the old map, or let's say if you compare it to Ichioid Cave mobs. Same goes, let's say, for the bosses. Like, probably that I can think of top of my head to put those pets to use is going to be Hollow Demon Ghost, because let's be honest, if you don't have high plus, Hollow is just really hard to do solo, because his magic damage is pretty strong, his physical damage is not a problem if you are assassin or monk, but if you are mana character, then even his physical damage is going to pose a problem for you. So that's another case. Another case, let's say you can use it to PK, like, because if the buff let's say expires, you can just reapply it, recall the pet, call back your regular pet, and keep on using them for the duration of 3 hours. Now, surely in PK it might be a little bit tricky because you die, But the good thing is pets do not have their actual cooldown, and I'm actually not sure if those buffs delete itself after you die. I would probably say they do, but don't get me, don't hold me really much for the word. You will have to test this yourself, because I cannot die as I have experience. So yeah, test it for yourself. And probably there is a couple of more niche cases where you could use this to combo off. So overall, what would conclude this is that yes, they are a little bit sloppy, especially their quests, and yes, their, let's say, duration, especially of those two pets, is extremely poor, and their bonuses, like per the individual, is a little bit clunky. But if you can find the use to put them to work for you, well, then that it's all good. Just to shorten up the video, I'm not gonna even bother to resummon Immortal Crocodile again, because this video is going to be probably long enough, and as I know, a lot of you hate long videos because you want to get straight to the point. So with that being said, I am going to leave the video there. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them, whether in game or on this video or any other video. And if you have trouble to getting notified when my videos come out, that's probably because YouTube is becoming once again weird with the notifications that it's sending to you. So once you subscribe to my channel, the best option to do is to click that little bell icon next to the subscribe button, so you have a guarantee to get notified whenever I post something new. And with that being said, I'm gonna leave the video there, and until next time, stay safe.